Hello everybody! So this is another much requested video that I'm doing for you. In this video I'm going to show you the difference between different sized cards, and I'm going to show you most importantly how to make them using your Stampin' Trimmer. Now I'm going to be doing a couple things using a couple different tools, but remember that this is something that you can do no matter what tools you have. As long as you can cut and you can score, you can do this. Now the measurements I'm going to be doing are going to be in imperial. So if you're using metric paper, so if you're in Australia, the South Pacific in general, if you're in Europe, these numbers won't apply to you, but the techniques absolutely will. I'll see if I can find a reference for you somewhere that has these standard sizes in metric. So the first thing I'm going to look at is some of the pre-cut card bases that you can get. So these are all available as items on their own, and they include a matching envelope. So the first one we've got is this narrow note card. Now I really like these. I made a bunch of Valentines with these. They're nice for little thank you cards. You can't mail these. These are something that you'll need to give to somebody in person or include in a larger envelope. And I switch between envelope and envelope because I don't know. The next one I've got here, this is our note card, our standard note card. So they're sold as note cards and envelopes, and they are 5 by 3.5. So this one you can mail in most places. I know here in Canada we can definitely mail these. And it's a nice little size that's kind of in between. What I like to do with these is I make sets of these. Then we've got our two Memories and More sizes. So these are two different sizes. We've got the small size that is not mailable, and then we have the large size, which is. And what's really neat about these is these actually match with the Memories and More cards that you can get. So those cards that are meant for pocket scrapbooking, but they work for cards as well, will fit right on the front here. So what I've done is made a whole bunch of these from the Happiness Blooms collection. So there's an example of a small card. See how I've just taken that Memories and More card on the front and attached some stickers. Same thing with the large size one. Now these cards are actually blue, so you can see they're printed blue, and the envelopes have that blue stripe on the inside. The regular ones are just white, but the Happiness Blooms one do have that blue to them, so that's kind of nice. Now, whenever you're folding a card, it's really important that you're folding it the right way, and whether it's a card that you've made yourself or that you've bought like this, you have a valley score and you have a mountain score, and you always want to put the mountain inside. So how I like to remember it is that the bump goes in. Now when you just fold them like this, they don't stay very well, so this is where I like to use my bone folder. And if you run it along that crease, and I usually do it on both sides, it stays together a lot better, and it'll also stand quite nicely. So I'm going to show you these all kind of next to each other so you can get an idea for the sizes. So these are the two Memories and More, the small and the large. This is the regular note card. And then this is the narrow note card. So there we go. Those are the pre-done sizes that we have. Now, there's more. But wait, there's more. We also have two different sizes of envelopes that come just on their own. So we have 3 by 3, which is a nice little, again, it's a gift enclosure. You can't mail these on their own in most places. And then we have our medium envelopes, and this is kind of our standard card. Now they're available in Whisper White and Very Vanilla. I like to decorate mine usually, and this is kind of the normal card base. So all of these are available, and we do have some of the medium-sized card base available as well, but those are kind of more special products. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we make cards, or card bases rather, for the medium and the 3x3 envelopes, because these two, you can't buy the card bases. You're just buying the actual envelope. So what we're going to do is we'll start with a 3x3. So what I've got here is I've just got a scrap piece of cardstock, because what I need to do is I need to cut this cardstock to 3 inches by 6 inches. And this is going to be the same no matter which orientation, because it's square. So on my trimmer, I've marked my score tool there, and I haven't marked my cutting tool because this one I replace a lot. So the important thing to remember about your trimmer is that this blade gets dull, so you may need to replace it. In fact, you will have to replace it. I replace mine because I do a lot of cutting at least once a month. And you'll know to replace it when it starts cutting very ragged. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my paper to the 6-inch mark there, and then I'm going to cut. And you can cut both directions with this one. You can cut up and down. And what I like to do with my trimmer too, I just find it gets a cleaner cut, is I just turn this a little bit. You can't actually see it turn, but what happens is it just applies a little bit of pressure and it keeps that cut straighter. So I'm going to do the same thing here. The other direction, I'm cutting to 3 inches. So then I've got my 3 inches there. So now I've got a piece of 3 by 6 inch cardstock. I'm going to line it up again on the 3-inch mark there, and now I'm going to score. This, you need to push it down fairly firmly, and then you're just going to run it up and down a couple of times. And there is your 3x3 card base. So same thing, you're going to fold it with the bump in, because what happens is now you've stretched these fibers on this side, so they're the ones that are going to be able to actually fold over a bit more. And again, just creasing it with your bone folder there. And that's your 3x3 card base. These are really cute. Okay, next up, we're going to do our standard card bases. So these are for the medium envelopes. Now you can do these from regular cardstock, and that's what I'm going to do here. So I've got a piece of basic black cardstock, but you can do this in any color you've got. So for a normal card that opens like a book, like this, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to score this in half. So at 4 1/4, because this is 8.5 by 11, so 4 1/4 is your halfway mark. We're going to score this. And now I'm going to turn it the long way, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to cut this in half. So now this time it's going to be at 5 1/2. And we've got the 5 1/2 mark there. So we're just going to cut this. So now you've got 2 same-sized card bases. I'm going to keep one handy because I want to show you them all to give you a comparison of the sizes. Now, there's another way you can make a standard card base, and that's one that opens like this. So I call those the vertical cards, and I'm going to show you that in Very Vanilla. Now, if you're making card bases from either Whisper White or Very Vanilla, you want to make sure you're doing it with the thick cardstock. We've got 2 different types of cardstock for Whisper White and Very Vanilla. The regular stuff, it comes in 40 sheets to a package. Great for stamping, punching, die cutting, all of that kind of stuff. But it's a little bit thinner, so it doesn't do great for card bases. So we have the thicker one, which is really good for card bases. It's kind of more the same weight as our colored cardstock. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to do, you had the scores and the cuts, I'm just going to do them backwards. So I'm going to score at the 5 1/2 mark. I'll get my cutting blade out of the way there. So I'm scoring it in half this way, and then I'm going to cut it in half the other way, so at 4 1/4. So then you can see, again, we've got 2 identical card bases, but this one is going to open in the other direction. And same as we've always done, the bump goes in, and now you've got a card that opens this way. All right, hopefully that all makes sense to you and that is helpful to you. I'm going to show you all of the cards together now. So these are your two standard card bases that go with your medium envelopes. So these cards end up being 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Then we've got our 3 by 3, which is with our little envelopes there. This is a standard note card and envelope. Then we've got the narrow note card and envelope here. And then we've got our large and our small Memories and More cards. So those are all kind of standard cards that are in different sizes. I'm going to be doing some fancy folds as well, but I'm going to leave it at this for the standard cards. All of these supplies are available to purchase. You can go to thecraftymedic.com, or if you have your cell phone handy, you can point it at my QR code there, and that will take you to my online shop. Happy stamping! Enjoy!